And I want to welcome a man who drove a long ways to get here and who is fighting for us and our families. He's going to help us learn what the next step is. And this is Tim Donnelly.
Well, thank you. I would first like to say thank you to our hosts, to Aaron and Katie for opening up their beautiful home. I'd like to acknowledge your regional coordinator, Janine Kloss, who has no idea how much work she has signed up for.
Oh no, I think I do.
But I am going to help in any way that I can and try to be a resource. We are organizing the state of California, and it's going surprisingly well. And I want to start off today by acknowledging, and all of you will probably notice that I'm wearing a hat. And this was not by accident that I am wearing this hat. I wear this hat for two reasons. One, because when it comes to gun rights, which to me are equivalent to freedom, there is no more effective organization in the world at fighting for what they believe in. Period. There just isn't. I believe we have the potential to become that kind of a force in the state of California. Now, having said that, I am going to take off my hat, both physically and metaphorically, and give it to my friend. Thank you, Jen. And I'm going to ask each and every one of you to do the same thing, because we are uniting for a single cause, and that is to defend parents' rights to make medical decisions for their kids, not the government. And we are uniting to overturn SB277. And, oh, you don't have to take that off. I like it. I want them to And I want you to understand something about that first. This is not just about exercising the people's veto and overturning a bill. This is something much more significant. This is about sending a message to those who think they rule over us, that they rule at our consent. In all the years I've been in the Capitol, which is a total of 4, so it's not a lifetime. I was certainly not a lifetime politician. I have never seen, nor have any of the Sergeant-at-Arms ever seen, the kind of turnout that you were able to generate from all across party lines, ethnic lines, race, economic classes, and everything else. We had rich and poor, we had black and white, Hispanic, Asian, everyone who was united as parents. Republicans and Democrats, I forgot that. I don't even know what that means anymore. All I know is I am willing to work side by side with anyone and everyone. Period. I don't care what we disagree on. You know what? After this is all over and we have a victory, we can go out and have a beer and argue. But you know what? You know what will happen though? Because we got to know each other, maybe I'll change you a little bit and you might change me a little bit. That's what happens when you develop a relationship. So we have a chance to bond as a movement. And so before I get into the actual training, I want you to understand what's at stake. I also want you to understand that we are a threat. We are a threat to the political establishment. That's why there's no politicians on board. You might have noticed that. We are a threat to the pharmaceutical companies who we know what they're going to do. But, oh, excuse me. We also will see controlled opposition, people pretending to be our friends, people trying to get their hands on these for nefarious reasons. So, one thing I want you to understand, and this is going to be hard for some of you because I don't trust the government. I know they're spying at me at all times. That's why I live my life so publicly. I put everything on Facebook. I figure if they take me out, they're going to do it in front of the world. Good luck with that. I'm not hiding. And I know some of you cannot take that stance, and others of you have graduated to that stance. But the bottom line is that there are people who would like to pretend to be one of us, get signatures, except that some of the signatures will be duplicates, a lot of the signatures will be fake, and the government will use that to throw out all of our efforts. So we're going to treat this document as a legal document that must be kept under lock and key. Yes, you're going to take it out in public, but you are going to be accountable for every one of the ones that you take. Okay, does everybody understand that? And that means we're going to ask you for your driver's license number to be put on that sheet for no other reason. It will never be shared anywhere. It will not be put online. It will simply be on a sheet with the coordinator and your phone number and a way to reach you so that we can call you in 2 weeks and ask you how many you've gotten and when we can get those signatures back. And there's a reason we're going to call you in 2 weeks. I'm sure some of you can guess. We have a very short time horizon. How many people know how many days we have left? 65. Now, I want the petitions back on September 15th, not September 28th. Because I can't do anything with them on September 28th. I can't process them. I literally have to turn every one of them into the registrar of voters in every single county in which they were gathered. Because they all have to be separated. And I want you to understand that the government has made it as hard as possible for us to undo the damage they've done to us. The referendum process has been in existence since 1911. And in only a handful of cases, and I believe the last one was 1914, has an all-volunteer effort succeeded. Now that might be daunting, and maybe you'll start to think, well, maybe we can't do this. I'm going to tell you, I ran a referendum. We got 450,000 signatures. We fell far short of our goal because the bar was much higher back then. It's based on the previous gubernatorial election, 5%. Hardly anybody turned out because I wasn't the candidate. Shameless plug. So that helps us, right? We can do this. I have never seen in my life more passion and enthusiasm coming from more sources on any issue. Now the challenge for us is to organize you into an army. That means we're going to have a chain of command. That means you can't Facebook message Janine with every single solitary question, because what we're going to do, we're going to divide up and we're going to organize our neighborhoods and our cities, right? How many of you here have already signed up to be some sort of an area coordinator? Awesome, awesome. Love it. That's going to make us much more effective. But we do have, right now, this entire training, except for the humor, is available online as a video. It will be posted to our website in a short time because we're putting up a couple of simple steps, 3 easy steps to become a petitioner, and then you can submit it and get connected and get your data to us all at the same time, which is important. Everything we're doing, we're trying to automate. We have already organized the largest counties in the state. So Los Angeles County is humming. Orange County. And we're going to, at some point, announce a competition between teams. Why not? Because we've given each team a goal. Now, how did we come up with that goal? We came up with that goal by having a numbers guy down in San Diego analyze all the PBEs over the last 10 years in every county in California.
What's a PBE?
Personal belief exemption. And by doing that, we then multiplied that by 10 for the 10 years. So we have the average times 10 years. And then we look at how many family and friends we think surround those people. And then we've come up with targets. And when you add up those 29 counties, we're only looking at 29 counties. When you add up all 29 counties, you get to 508,000. And we can do that. Because I don't need every one of you to get 5,000 signatures, but we need to get 5,000 people who will get 100 apiece. And I think we can do that easily. So part of your job is also going to be recruiting some of your friends, letting them know, teaching them, training them. You don't need to bring them to a meeting. Let's get them out on the streets and let's get them effective. Okay? So now I'm going to go into the petition itself. And I'm going to make this as simple as possible. What county is this petition for? Can any of you see it? See, they're right. It's blank. So until you take a pen, and if I could have at this time someone to distribute a petition to everyone so they follow along. And I have a knife if you need to open that. Okay, you're gonna get a petition, and you're gonna look right up here at the top, and you are going to designate a county. Okay, that's the first and most important thing. Then you're going to flip it open, and these were folded a little bit backwards, so don't be offended by it.
Now we figured out they're right.
Okay. You are then going to put that same county on the second page where you can get signatures. I'm going to wait till everybody gets it.
And figure we'll keep that out. I passed it, you have to go down to the end of the row.
Oh, you stole my note? I think we could definitely do that. Everyone will sign on. All right, does everybody have a petition?
First question?
Yeah.
What, does it matter what kind of pen you use? We were told ballpoint, black, or blue.
Ask me that when I use this. All right. If I can get your attention again, I will try to keep it short. And then I do want you to ask your questions while everyone can hear them. Because you could get me in a corner and ask me a bunch of questions and no one's going to benefit from it. So I will stay here and I will answer, okay? Until Janine cuts us off or our host kicks us out, okay? All right, but I want to be quick. I want to get through the logistics right now so that you understand it. All right, first of all, we are going to designate this to a single county. And you put that right there at the top where it says, all signers of the petition must be registered to vote in said county. Okay, so let's say you put Sacramento County, right? Then you flip it over, and let's say you only have 3 friends, let's say you have 14 friends, okay? And 9 of them are in one county, and the other 6 or other 5 are in another county, right? And you decide, okay, well, Sacramento County on the front, and I want to put Orange County on the back. Is that copacetic? No. See, a bunch of people getting really upset about that. That's right. That you might as well just burn this and throw all the signatures away. This is a legal document. Every part of it, you cannot rip it, because what is attached is the actual law, SB277. Try not to get poisoned by it, but it is attached. And we cannot tear this in two or it will invalidate it. And all of your work will be for naught, including your own signature, okay? So, the first thing I want you to do, I'll take that in 1 second. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to designate it for the same county on the front and on the back of the signature part. Then that's done. And you understand that everyone who signs this in the signature gathering area must be a registered voter who is a resident of California, meaning a registered voter in California, you have to be, who is in this particular county. Now, if you have somebody who comes up to you and says, hey, can I sign and I'm from YOLO? Well, sure they can, but you have to pull out a whole new sheet. And I would advise you not to designate a whole bunch of counties, leave them blank. Then whoever you encounter, you can capture their signature. You might only have one on a sheet. I'll take it. You can turn that signature in, it's okay. All right, because we do want to get them back, right? All right, so you're out. You've decided to go signature gathering. Now comes, and I'm going to mix a little bit of the mechanics in with the approach. So I need a test agent. Oh, Jen, thank you for volunteering. Okay, so first thing I'm going to show you is what not to do. Okay, you're walking into the grocery store or whatever, or she's at the post office.
You want me to do what I normally do?
Yes, I do. Okay.
I don't have time.
Hi, ma'am. Do you have time? You know what? By the way, did you hear about this terrible bill? It's vaccines aren't safe, and these kids are. You know what? And if I go and stalk her into the store, do you think she's going to sign this? All right. So we need a different approach, right? Okay. So, hi, ma'am. Are you a registered voter?
I am.
Wonderful. Hey, did you hear that there was a bill that passed that is going to kick kids out of school if they miss one single booster shot on the mandated
I
vaccines?
saw that on the news.
Yeah, and we, by putting this on the ballot, we're going to restore a religious and personal belief exemption for everyone so that the parents can make that decision. Would you be willing to help me put that on the ballot by signing here today?
I will.
Did you guys see that? You know what I'm going to walk away with right now? A signature. Not an argument. I did not prove the whole case to her. Oh, but no, don't leave without signing. Okay, but no, seriously. Okay, so now I'm going to walk her through it. All right? But this is what we're here for. We are not here for an argument. We are not here for phase 2. Phase 2 is the messaging. Phase 1 is we want to reel them in and get them to help us let the people decide the question. Okay. So if you would print your name here. You get the thing? Okay. All right.
This is when I wish I had a shorter name.
Okay, so, and then immediately people are going to wonder, what do you put in the residence? And there's schools of thought on this, I hate to tell you. Some people are saying just where you live. But the reality is that the signature will not count unless it's where you're registered. Most people are registered where they currently live, and it's physical address. They will not take P.O. boxes. Yeah. So I think the simplest thing is just say, put down your residence, okay? Now, if we find out that you are registered at a different address, there's a couple ways we can deal with that. We can pull out a voter registration form and spend 20 minutes helping her fill it out. We can advise her to go on her smartphone and register online, which is now available. The bottom line is, as long as she has registered to vote before she signs this, and as long as that matches when they go to certify the signatures, we are okay. So if she wants to sign it, and she has just moved, and she wants to sign it as where she used to live, and that's where she is legally registered to vote in Sacramento County, that's fine. All we're going to ask her is don't re-register between now and the end of the year. Okay, just to keep it simple. That way it'll match. And it's legal and it's cool. Well, that is awesome. Thank you very much, ma'am.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, now, let's say that she's really assertive and she wants to know, well, what's going to happen next? Be assertive and ask me that.
So when will this get on the ballot?
So this would go on the presidential ballot in November of 2016, and the good news is that the bill would not go into effect until that question is decided by the voters. It's as simple as that. We don't need to educate them anymore. We don't need to converse, but it's always a good idea to send them away with a little tiny bit of information so that they can talk to other people, because they will. People talk.
And what will it be called when it's on the ballot?
It will literally be the question of SB277. SB277, and it will have some kind of legal name that I don't have any control over. Okay. All right. So, thank you very much, ma'am. Yeah, well, you're going to get this back. All right, so we get this all filled out, and we get down to the declaration of circular. Now, this is where it gets tricky. Because remember, the government's always trying to trip us up, so let's keep it really simple. The bottom line, in order to be a circulator, you have to fill out this affidavit. This is a legal affidavit. This legal affidavit says that you are 18 years old, 18 years of age. You must be a resident of the state of California. You do not have to be a citizen, thanks to a law that passed when I was the vice chair of elections, and you do not have to be a registered voter. I know that sounds weird, why you would do all this if you weren't a citizen and weren't a registered voter. Well, we'll leave that question for others to answer. What I will say is, hey, if you're going to do this, you might want to actually register to vote so that you can sign up here at the top. Okay, but the bottom line is that this affidavit, if it is not filled out correctly, could invalidate the entire sheet. So, the first thing we want to do is I want you to put your legal name. In my case, it's Timothy M. Donnelly. So your full name with your middle initial, you're going to print it. Secondly, you're going to put your residence where you currently live. This doesn't have anything to do with voter registration or any of that. It's literally an affidavit that you are swearing this is where I live. So it's separate. It's confirming your identity. It also is confirmation that you have personally gathered these signatures. So you are swearing to that. This is like a legal binding document. That the person who is in front of you, like Jen, who I know, is the person that she says, and that is her signature. Okay? Then you're going to put the date. This is easy because you're going to get a million signatures in the first day. So it can just be, what's today? July 20-something?
25th.
25th? Wow, the days are flying by. July 25th to July 25th, right? Because you got them all in one day. You got 14 signatures.
Numbers or letters? As far as the date.
It's month, day, year.
Doesn't matter.
They're not going to get that picky as long as it is accurate. All right. Then comes the most critical part of the entire document. And that is executed on, that's the date, that's today, you're filling it out. Now, it could be the day you finish getting signatures, or if you procrastinate like me, it's like the last day before the dog ate your homework, and it's the night before, and you're going to fill it all out, right? I recommend you do it as you go along. And then they're going to ask you, so the date and year, and then the place of signing. It doesn't say county or city, does it? It just says place of signing. They want the county. So just simply put the county, okay? And then you're going to sign your legal signature. Mine happens to include my middle name, but your signature is your signature. As long as you printed your middle initial and you sign the way you sign every legal document, you're going to be good, okay? All right.
I have a question.
Yes.
What if, like, I think I have sometimes signed some things with my middle initial and without, and I don't remember when I registered to vote.
This doesn't, it doesn't matter here on the bottom.
But it does for.
They do want your middle initial.
Okay.
So if you can put your
But
middle
for
initial.
this, didn't you say it needs to match? Is there a way that you can check that for yourself?
You can check the name you put by going on the Register of Voters website, but you can't see your actual signature. At least I have not been able to. So
Okay.
unless, Richard, unless you can tell me different. No,
Okay.
you can only see, you can look yourself up with 2 bits of information. Yes.
One question I was told to ask for people who aren't here, if, I know it has to match perfectly on there versus what they registered as, if their middle initial or not is not there, and they don't put it, is that good?
Okay, the middle initial in your signature at the bottom here is where they specify include middle initial.
Okay.
Okay, but your signature is your signature. So if you don't sign with your middle initial,
fine.
but it's how you sign legally, I don't see how they can challenge your signature, especially, you know what, look at your driver's license signature. Everybody's signature is on their driver's license. If you look at how you legally sign documents, that is what the affidavit is about. Now up here, it is important to sign the way that you ordinarily sign, and that's probably how you signed on your at the Register of Voters. And the bottom line is they're not going to be able to throw your signature out without some kind of a challenge.
So if you say when I registered, I used my middle initial under my registered name, but say I signed without it, and I forget because I didn't remember if I put the M or not in there. I
As
just
long
did
as-
my first and last
as
name.
long-
Is that gonna be,
I don't think they're gonna get that.
They're not
Okay.
going to get that picky, and if they do, we're going to have lawyers on there
okay, that's
challenging
what I wanted
and
to
trying
clarify,
to
because
protect
people were
every
asking me
single
how
signature. Yeah.
nitpicky was it going to be?
No, the
Okay.
bottom line is, once again, that you sign it in good faith, and that you put your physical address where you are registered. And look, I don't want you guys to get too bogged down in that. The bottom line is, most people are going to have the correct information if you guide them through it and make sure they print it, put their residence address. Most people haven't moved that much, so you're going to be good. Okay, so
The color of the ink and the type of pen, or
we're being asked about the color of the ink and the type of pen. Use black and blue. It's what you use for business. I don't think they care if it's a ballpoint pen or a felt tip pen, as long as it's legible and it stays on the page. You can't sign with a pencil. And I wouldn't advise like purple ink or something else.
You can't use purple. You're supposed to use blue and black.
Yeah. So, common sense. Now, I want you to take a look at what's at the top of the referendum. You see the words in big bold print, referendum to overturn SB277 and restore a parent's right to a religious and personal belief exemption. That is what this referendum does. And we were able to pick those words and put those there intentionally so because people are going to want to read this. That's probably the first thing they're going to read. Then they might read what the Attorney General wrote, which is referendum to allow personal belief exemption from mandatory immunization program for school children. Simple as that. This will restore the personal belief exemption, and I broke it out as religious and personal belief exemption. Okay? So that's what it does. And if anybody asks you anything further, the bottom line is, what is a referendum? A lot of people aren't going to know. I did a referendum and didn't fully even understand it. We didn't ultimately qualify it. I didn't really understand black and white, but here's what's going to happen. And this should be very encouraging to all of you. We're going to put SB277 to a test of the voters. It's going to be voted up or down. That means, what side are we on? Are we a yes or a no on SB277? No. I'm sorry, are you guys awake? No! Well, that's good news, because voters love to say no.
yes and no.
And so we have an automatic advantage should we qualify this. That should be a motivator to all the naysayers out there saying you're never going to get on the, you're never going to qualify, you'll never get enough signatures in the time. But even if you do, then Big Pharma's going to come in and annihilate you with all this money, right? But people are predisposed to defend the status quo. And by the way, I had the most no votes in the entire Assembly and Senate. Isn't that right, Richard? I wore out the no button. They had to install a hell no button. And in this current political environment, people are madder than hell at the government, and it doesn't matter what party they're in. Because all you have to do is look at who the two top presidential candidates are right now. It's the far left, Bernie Sanders, who said, I want to raise your taxes. He just raised $15 million from 400,000 individuals who don't want Hillary Clinton. Okay? And then you have on the Republican side, you've got the Trumpinator. So you got Donald Trump, because people don't want Jeb Bush. They want.
He can't be bought either.
He can't be bought. And neither one of these guys can be bought. So it's the election of true believers. We couldn't have a better climate. Because you know what? Look, let's say you're in front of a gun store, which is where I would go for my signatures. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So, am I going to give them a long spiel about parents' rights? Probably not. I'm going to say, you know what? Do you think that the parents or the government should make the medical decisions for the kid?
Boom.
And I'm going to say government, not government. There's a reason for that. Because people don't trust the government. And we're going to tap into that. And we're going to get what? Well, are we out there to make friends? No, but that could happen. But we're out there to get signatures. So I want to get as many signatures as possible in the shortest period of time. So let's talk for a minute. And I want to ask you for ideas on where you think would be a good place to go to get signatures. Anybody?
Health food.
Churches?
Yes, churches. The only problem with churches is a lot of people aren't registered to vote, so what you need to do, set up a table in the back. You can get a banner from us. Now you're going to have to pay for it, okay? We're kind of a shoestring operation. You can get an order number, at Staples, and it's like 60 bucks. You print the banner, put it on a table, now you're in business. You get some voter registration forms. There's some here on the table. They're at the they give them away. You can get them at the library, the DMV, wherever, okay? You register these people to vote. You get them to sign, and it's a nice, comfortable, easy environment. And look, a lot of churches will allow you to do that. They won't allow you to pontificate about politics. You can't sit there and say, hey, I want you to vote or register Republican or Democrat or any of that nonsense. You just have to literally take the registration and get them to sign. That would be a very powerful thing. And by the way, if you don't believe it, the petition to overturn the transgender bathroom bill got 620,000 signatures by focusing on churches. Wow. Now it's still in litigation, but the bottom line is most of that was volunteer. There were some paid petition gatherers, but most of that was volunteer. Okay, another location.
I was going to set up at my chiropractor's office. They're actually quite busy.
Okay.
So, and everyone in there was all on the same page. So it was
Perfect.
like a friendly environment.
All right, but if they're really excited and friendly, what do you want to do?
Make them up.
You want to take a form with you.
Absolutely.
You want to get their information, and you want to give them a couple of forms. And the bottom line is on how many forms I want you to give to people and how many forms I want you to take yourself is very simple. It's a 2-week rule. How many signatures can you get in 2 weeks? Because I'm expecting you, and I will call you, and when I say I mean our whole group, somebody will call you and ask you for those back. So bottom line is, in 2 weeks, if you can fill out 10 forms, then I want you to take 10 forms. If you fill them out faster, call us up, we'll get you more. But we're going to bring them in and we're going to start counting in the first 2 weeks. Now we aren't going to publicize that count because that may discourage people, but we are going to count. And we're going to make our strategy around that count toward our goal. Okay? Now, I'm going to say a word about paid petition gatherers. A lot of you are going to be contacted by paid petition gatherers who want to get their hands on what's called paper. This is their business, this is their livelihood. I have a very simple message, and I'm perfectly willing to work with every paid petition gatherer. We have several here today. But we're not paying for any signatures on this paper at all, period, ever. In the event that we raise any money or enough money to hire people, let's say we get really close and we desperately need, I will be able to probably get enough money to pay for a certain number of signatures. And I did this before. At that point, we will get a different color paper, and that will be for paid petition gatherers. And we will send the professionals into the field. If the professionals want to help us now, more power to them. If they believe in this cause, more power to them. But I do not want you to hand out petitions to paid petition gatherers. They need to come to us. We will work with them. Okay? Does everybody understand that? There shouldn't be anybody contacting you individually asking for your petitions. If that happens, let your coordinator know. And when I say your coordinator, I don't mean every communication needs to go straight to Janine. She's like the CEO of this area, of the county. We'll have area directors. You guys will figure it out. You will organize. But you send it up through the chain of command. Okay? If you have questions, do the same thing. Don't contact 15 people because you saw that they were involved in some way. Be patient. We're trying to communicate with a lot of people in a very short period of time, but your best source might be to join the Facebook group. How many people here are a member of the Sacramento Facebook group? Good. All right, when you're on the page, if you have a question, just ask it right on the page, because people there are in the know, and somebody will likely answer it. Now, if you go to 5 other pages, if you go to my personal page, if you go to Jen's page and this page, we can't keep up with all that. But I'm hoping that within your community, somebody will have the time, because not all of us can be on Facebook, right? To look at it, get the answer in a timely fashion so that you are able to continue to be effective. As I stated, let's say that you go home and you say, oh man, I forgot everything that guy said, you know. It was hot, I was tired. What are you going to do?
Look at the training online.
Thank you. Say that louder.
Look at the training online.
There is an online video. It is 26 minutes long. It features me along with an actress who's much more entertaining and really good at this. And basically we go through all of this stuff. okay? And we do it in a way that you can skip through it to get the parts that you need. So then, let's say you've gotten all your signatures, what are you gonna do with them? Turn them in where?
To your coordinator.
Mail.
Okay, well, now that's an interesting question, because your coordinator's not gonna be able to handle all that, right? I mean, look at how many people are here right now. I'm having trouble remembering all your names, even though I got a couple of them. Which is a good problem, yes.
We told Janine that we could be a drop-off place and then Janine could come get them here as well.
I can't hear you. Can you stand up here, Katie?
We told Janine that this can be a drop-off place and it won't be that the signatures stay here for very long, I'm supposed to say that, and that they will get picked up right away and be taken to a probably more secure disclosed
Right.
place.
We are going to have a secure location, but we're going to have drop-off points. And those drop-off points, some of them will be private and some of them will be public, okay? Bottom line, at the request of the homeowner or the business. If it's a business, we will probably, which would be great, like chiropractor's office. If you go there, ask them if there'll be a drop-off point. Ask them if they'll participate in helping us. When people come in, they do have to give their driver's license when they want to get petitions. When they come back, they're just checking off that they returned them, because we're going to put down how many you took. And so once those are returned, so you're going to return them the same way you got them, right? We're keeping that simple. If you went to a chiropractor's office to pick them up, you're going back to that chiropractor's office to drop them off and get more. All right? Do I have any questions on that? And then there will be a list. There may be 5 offices by the time we're done, and you don't have to drive 20 minutes, you might only have to drive 5 minutes. And that will continue to grow, and we will update it on the website because it's going to be impossible to update everybody individually. So the website will be a great source of information, and we're going to continue to try to send you emails with some of the most frequently asked questions that arise. You also might have a great experience out there. If you have a great experience out there, what are you going to do with it? Share it. Right on the group page. And if we hear about it, we may take it and incorporate it into our messaging, because the bottom line is we want to help everyone become successful at gathering those signatures. One other suggestion: when you're out, try to take a buddy. Make a friend in the group here. Say, hey, would you like to go? It's so much easier. You don't feel so self-conscious. Now, a couple of locations that you might not think of, but that can get you tons of signatures. Social Security office in the morning. Right when they open, there's a line outside. Now, this is not for everyone, but the bottom line is you walk up to them, you say, are you a registered voter? Would you help me get this on the ballot? As long as you do not misrepresent what you are talking about, as long as you do not say something that is untrue, then you do not create any legal opportunity for anyone to overturn that signature or those signatures you're gathering. Now, some people may have questions, but the experience of one of my colleagues is by doing that, she will get 50 signatures, one from everybody in line who's a registered voter. And when your goal is to get signatures to put something on the ballot, and if you can get away with it as simple as that, then you've got your 50 signatures, you're on your way to work, you're done for the week, right? I mean, if that was your goal, if that's the level of participation you want to have. So, all kinds of government offices. Anywhere there's a line. I would go to a ball field when everybody's waiting outside, not inside, but when they're waiting outside for it to open, remember, before they let you in? If you're a baseball fan now, I recommend you don't wear a hat that talks about baseball, because you're going to offend one side or the other. So that's when you wear your NRA hat. No, but you get my point. All right. I want to answer any questions.
I'm assuming that it's a lot more helpful to just go inside, let's say the co-op or something, natural health food store, and just get approval for us to be out there first? I don't even know.
Okay, so you want to set up at a health food store, you want to set up at a store with private property. And you want to know what the rules are for petitioning in general.
Even government agencies, I don't know how many.
Well, the general rule is that you can petition anywhere that can be in any way construed as the public square, as long as you're not impeding traffic, as long as you are not blocking a business, or you're not at a polling place on election day. Okay? So, to answer your question, if somebody owns a small store and you're going to set up a booth and sit there for 8 hours, it's a really good idea to go inside, introduce yourself, ask permission, ask them where they would like you. You have a constitutional right to petition, but you don't have a constitutional right to petition particularly on their property. Okay? Now, if it's a mall setting and there's a big area where it's like a quad, a public area, that's where you can petition in a public area. Of course, they're going to send security guards. Sometimes they're going to send police officers. We will have a printout. I don't know, Janine, if you got that. Where's Janine?
Which printout?
Did you get the printout of the rules of circulators?
Yes, I have one copy of it.
All right. Well, we'll have that online. We'll have that online. You can print it out. And it basically gives some of the case law. But bottom line is it's the public square. Okay? Yes.
I just wanted to say, Amber, when you did the co-op, did you have to ask them? Because there's always somebody petitioning at the co-op
Yeah,
or something,
exactly.
but they're away, they're
Right.
not allowed, but you guys were underneath, like right there.
Most businesses have it so that you can call and schedule time, and they have scheduled times. We've done it at the co-op a few times when we were working on petitions for SB277. And they have set aside times where you can sign up, you go in, you register with them, you give them your information, and they have a designated area that's right under the window, right next to the table,
Yeah.
right next to the front door.
Now that is great.
Different locations, different businesses, we call them.
And look,
Also.
you always want to treat people the way you want to be treated. When you're petitioning, you always want to be nice. What do you do if somebody wants to come up to you and argue? Do you have time to argue?
No.
Do you want to piss off the 3 people that are coming up behind that person that might be willing to give you their signature? Hey, if you want to argue, I can see some people that know how to argue. Have a nice day. That's all we're going to say. Have a nice day, smile, and mean it, because you don't want to take that angst with you to the next person that you're talking to. There's one other point that just came up today, because every time we do this training, we learn something from you guys with some of the questions. We need, and I'll get to that question in a second, thank you. We need a place, because there's a lot of people on Facebook right now that are, hey, I just want to sign. Hello? Anybody out there? So, between your group and your leadership, if you know somebody is going to set up at the co-op, or somebody is going to set up at Walmart, and they're going to be there every day, day in and day out, or Stater Brothers, whatever it is up here, right? Let's publicize that location for individual signers. This is a signing table or a signing booth. Then you can send them there. Hey, they're there between these hours. That way those people can go on the way to work or on the way to lunch or whatever. But then you guys have to make sure that there are people to man that booth if you're going to do that. And that's a big lift. But there's some people that are perfectly willing to do that in a set period of hours. Maybe it's only 4 hours a day. Maybe you can get it manned for 8 hours a day.
Just a suggestion, in Facebook you're able to put folders, and we can make it public so people could take a photo or something that indicates the county. So people can go through the folder looking at the different counties to see who's set up, to find who's the closest, so you can go sign. And that's something we can all kind of easily do. Upload the county, everyone puts in their comments of who's going to be where, what time, and everyone
Okay.
can do that. It's super easy, it's not a bunch of asking questions, it's all available.
All right,
And
now do you see why I am so optimistic that we can do this? Because your creativity, your energy, your ideas are how we're going to win this. Hold on, I'm going to take you after I take this lady over here who's been patiently
I
waiting.
just wanted to just ask real quick. You had mentioned about dropping off petitions at different places like our practice office. So on the form, as a circular form, who is going to sign that? Because we aren't witness to actually seeing them sign.
Okay,
You know,
that's a good question. All right, so there's 2 issues here. She's saying if somebody comes into the chiropractor office to sign, no. That can only happen if you are there manning the table and you are the circular. That's why these are not given out willy-nilly. Okay? There's a purpose for these. That is to get 14 signatures and for you to sign it accurately, to check it and make sure people are putting the proper information. Now let's say somebody makes a big mistake. You know, some of us men have trouble, like, someone would be talking to us and then we're writing and we write what they said because, you know, we can't multitask. So, we make a mistake. What do? Just cross a single line through it and move down to the next signature spot. We're just going to leave that there. They can see that you filled in accurately and correctly below. It's an honest mistake. Okay? Simple as that. We're not going to cross out. We're not going to white out. We're not going to do anything else. So, but the point of the hubs is not necessarily to be a signing location, because we're not asking people to randomly come in and sign, because we wouldn't have the same person witnessing that, and that could definitely be a reason for invalidity. Those points are simply for distribution of petitions to people who want to go out and be a circulator. And all of you, right, I assume if you're here, want to go out and be a circulator. Correct? Yeah. All right. Terry.
I just want to add, I think a lot of us kind of came together through our interaction on social media and probably bumped into one another and realized, oh my gosh, what's going on, I have to do something. But I just want to encourage everyone to think beyond social media. Not everyone is into social media. Not everyone is active on Facebook or Twitter.
A lot of people are still using old-fashioned telephones and are not really all that big on smartphones. Okay? So I want you to think about real people on the street that you meet every day, whether you're traveling to or from your store, to or from your activities, where other people are engaged. We must take this beyond social media to the streets. I want to encourage you to think about farmers markets, little league games, any place where people are gathered. It's the summertime. There's all kinds of festivals in all of our communities. I don't care if it's bananas or strawberries or grapes or beer or what have you. There are fun things going on. Go there, have fun, meet people, and get signatures. It's not going to be something that you can do sitting on your computer on Facebook. It's not going to happen that way.
But one thing that can happen in Orange County, if you go, well, you might not be able to see Orange County's page, but I'll tell you what they're doing. They're taking the ideas she just talked about, and they have people putting links with suggestions to places to go. If you find a great place, don't hog it to yourself. Suggest it to other people. Put it on the social media, because that is the fastest way to transmit data. Email it to your area leader, and then maybe your area leader could include it in an email to all of you or what have you, and share it with you and your friends. All right, it is kind of hot in here, and you guys have been here for a while, so I want to make sure that I get your questions answered. Anybody have a question? Yes.
There's a lady who owns a health food store, and she said she would be willing to ask for certain patrons, okay, to sign it, so they would be in her presence.
Okay.
So do I have to get her to a training or have her?
Okay, that is a great question. Thank you. It's almost like I set it up. With what I put online today, and I don't know, I was trying to get it done before I came in here. But it'll be up by the end of this weekend, let's just say that. There is an online training that says 3 easy steps to becoming a petitioner. We don't want to have people here in person. We want them to be able to get trained and get out there. And of course, but to do that, they got to get petitions. So, when you download, you can watch the video. It's easy to watch, it's on YouTube. It's 26 minutes, so they watch the video. Then they put their name, their email, and their county. And they press submit. As soon as they do that, we know that they've watched it. There's also documentation there that has a lot of the frequently asked questions that you might even have. You can download those documents, and now you're ready, you're in business. Now, if it does what I want it to do, it will then send an email to that person with a list of all the public petition gathering locations, the drop-off hubs or pickup hubs in the state by county. Okay? So now that person has been trained. They have said, I watched this, I did this, I submit my name, basically kind of like a signature in a sense, and they now know where to go get petitions. So that would work. And if a lady wants to sit in this office and be a circulator, she can get trained right online. And if you're the person who's going to give her petitions, you have to make sure she gets trained first. And look, the bottom line, and you're going to have to get her name, phone number, driver's license. So if you're going to give out petitions, you need name, phone number, and driver's license from a person before I want you to give them this legal document. Then we know You're going to turn that back into your coordinator so that they know where those petitions went, so that when we get a phone tree going, and I think I know who we should put in charge of the old-fashioned phone tree, we're going to do a phone booth or phone bank and start calling people and say, okay, I need to get those petitions back. How can we get those back? And boom, 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 boom. But we're going to do this in 2 weeks. And that's going to tell us where we stand. And then we're going to do it 2 weeks later. Okay, and we're going to grow and grow and grow. I see this thing growing the more organized we are. Yes?
Is anyone in the Yuba City area? That's where I'm from. And I'm seeing a lot of comments about Chico. And they're wondering how can they get petitions, but it's quite far to come to Sacramento. So I'm willing to be kind of a middle person from Chico to Yuba City.
Why don't you come and see us afterwards? Because we have, like when I came here tonight, I needed to send somebody to Orange County to pick up 10 boxes and then drop them off in the middle of nowhere at the Pear Blossom Highway and the 14. Anybody know where that is? Well, that's where I met somebody who took the time to drive up there. And the bottom line is that that's how we're doing things. Now, we do have some regional coordinators in some of those counties, but we do need help. So please, if there's some skill or talent or ability that you see that we're lacking that you can provide, please, please, please connect with your nearest coordinator who is your closest to you, like your city or your neighborhood, okay? Because we don't want to overwhelm Janine, but let's put you to work doing that. This is our effort. This is not Tim Donnelly's effort. This is not Janine Kloss's effort. It's not Jen DeLuggage's effort. Did I say that right? Thank you very much. All right, I think, and unless there's any other questions. Are there any other questions first?
When will it be on the ballot? Would it be November 2016?
It would be the November 2016 election, the presidential election.
Just get more detail about what she mentioned was my question. I have a biological dentist that offered me a place where you can go and sign the petition. And however, there are like maybe 3 people working there. So do they all need to be trained?
Yes.
Or need to be signed in front of the same one person? Or can it be in front of any of those 3
It could be in front of any of those 3 as long as they're trained and they have their own petition that they have witnessed all of the signatures on. Okay?
Yeah. There might be like 2 or 3 of them in the front, but if I train
That's
them all.
fine. If you train them all and you explain to them,
One of them can sign it.
each one has their own clipboard, you're responsible for your signatures.
Okay.
You
They all
own
get
that,
a
and you're,
separate
yeah.
petition.
No, that's a great idea. I think that's a great idea. Yes.
So I have been really successful with the network marketing company, and I have a lot of leaders, and my question in terms of thinking big and thinking numbers is to go and instead of doing a class on what it is that I share and how I've been successful and how they've been successful, to actually set up, like, not really a class, but a way to have them bring their friends who are interested in this, or
Like a signing party?
a signing party, and or having them bring people who are passionate about this and a training party. Is that?
That's a great idea. You could do it with the video. You don't need me, or you could do it yourself, because none of this stuff is rocket science, or I wouldn't be able to do this.
I'm almost feeling like sometimes, yes, it's hard to gather people right now. They all have perfectly valid excuses that they're camping or what have you. But yet, it almost seems like when I gather people in social media and say, hey, let's get you guys trained, there's still excuses as to why they can't come here and I'm busy there. So maybe if we do have a class, a gathering, a signature party, a training, I don't know.
You can make it fun. You can have a barbecue. I mean, you can do anything. As long as you're not bribing them with like, hey, I will not give you a cheeseburger until you sign. Okay, that's illegal. But if you are making cheeseburgers, make sure you invite me.
Okay.
Yes.
Has anybody considered the state fair going
right
now?
Yes, the state fair, great idea, great idea. Yes, in Orange County, they've set up a booth, and what they did is they coordinated with the Republican booth that's already there and paid for.
No, in Sacramento.
I know, but I'm saying, they're doing that in Orange County, and this is a competition, so I think Sacramento County Fair needs to happen. I think it's a great...
California State Fair is happening right now.
Only a week left of it.
Yeah, that's the biggest one of all the county fairs.
Oh, what do I know?
Right here.
I don't have time for all that fun stuff, so I have no idea. Okay.
There's only two more days. Or today and tomorrow.
Every single morning there.
Okay, hey, I would go target them. Look, don't freak out. You can just go stand in line, you can walk through there, and you're always going to be harassed by people who say you can't do something. You have a constitutional, listen, you have a constitutional right to petition. This is not soliciting. This is literally a right that is guaranteed in the California Constitution of referendum. It's different than the ballot initiative because it's literally putting the question before the voters. You're not pushing an agenda. You are literally just putting a question before the voters. You have an absolute constitutional right to do that. And you need to communicate that sometimes forcefully in terms of words and ideas, not saying get rude, but somebody will come up to you. This happens all the time. And they will say, let me give you an example. This happened to me when I was first thinking about running for office. I wanted to go talk to my congressman. I was at a protest. We had a big rally. We had flags, we had signs, we had the newspapers there, and he was ticked. So he is not going to meet with any of us. A contingent of us asked to meet with him, and they sent out a phalanx of police officers. And there was a video camera rolling, kind of like this. And I don't know what overcame me. I wasn't in office. I was just an ordinary citizen like every one of you. And as those police officers came up to me and said, "You are not allowed to be here. You're standing on private property." And I said, "Wait a minute." I said, "Are you going to try to deny me, because I have a fundamental First Amendment right to seek redress of my grievances from my government. And my government is in the corner office right here on this private property. Are you going to try to infringe my constitutional right, officer?" And he stepped out of the way. He stepped out of the way because I knew what my rights were. And they trump law. They trump somebody's being uncomfortable. They trump a whole lot of things, but they don't trump it unless you understand it and you're willing to stand up for it. Now let me tell you, I got halfway across the parking lot and 4 police officers converged on me and said, "Excuse me, sir, are you going to get violent?" And that's when I smiled to make them wonder. I said, "Of course not. I mean, why would I do that? I just want to talk to my congressman." I got to go in and talk to his chief of staff. That's the highest person in the office, I found out. Richard here is my former chief of staff when I used to be in office. That's a big deal. Bottom line, know your rights, read the documents. If you don't have information, we're trying to get everything up online so that it's easily accessible to everyone. You had a question, you had an announcement.
What's the last day to drop off petitions again? September?
Our target goal is September 15th, okay? The last drop dead day to get them into the counties is September 28th. So September 15th is going to be a really significant date. And we will then come back and have a new strategy at that time, okay? So a lot of our communication will be through video, it will be through email, and through the Facebook groups, because we'll be pushing information through your coordinators to get it out to you, okay?
Going back to what you were just saying, like, is there any place where they can positively tell us, get off the property legally?
If you are on absolute private property, you're inside of a store.
Okay.
That's their property. If you're outside the store, standing at the entrance, and they don't want you there, they could call the police.
Okay.
Now, I've been in this experience. I was at Bass Pro Shop, and they were trying to kick me off. And I said, "Look, I have a constitutional right to be here, and I'm going to be here." And I didn't go right up next to it. I was out, sort of in a little thoroughfare. It was in a mall-type setting, and I defended myself, and the police left. It was scary. Okay, I'll admit it. It was uncomfortable. We don't usually do this. But if we want to get our rights back, if we want to push the government up against the wall and throw some damn handcuffs on them, this is what it's going to take. And I got to tell you, I wish I was back in office in California, or governor of California, because I would love to make it to where we could just sign a petition online and not have to go through all this. Isn't it ridiculous how hard here we are in the technological age, and they've made it impossible, in their estimation, for us to assault the castle. They put a moat, alligators in it, 50 caliber machine guns on the turrets. I mean, come on, question.
More of a recommendation. When you're signing on one of the paid signature gatherers, Always have at least 4 or 5 clipboards. Do not just sit there with one and watch one person signing. It's all about numbers. So when you have one person signing, you're sitting there signing, don't focus on their signature, focus on getting the next person over. If you have 5 people signing at once, obviously it's 10 times better than having one person sign at
That
once.
is a great suggestion. And by the way, Scott is one of the paid gatherers who is going to help us, and he's going to get volunteer signatures for us because he believes in this. That is a great suggestion.
Yeah. Another recommendation, I've been arrested for petitioning. I've been in front of stores and had the cuffs on, you know, it hasn't been pleasant. But you, exactly like Tim says, as long as you stand up for your right, you know, this is our fundamental First Amendment right. You know why? I mean, it's necessary that we do stand up for that. Okay, there's been some court cases in our favor, and you're going to learn some of this stuff online here probably. The prune yard case is always huge. If you mention prune yard, that they, you know, it'll set them kind of in on their heels. So you just definitely want to quote some of the court cases that are out there. So.
And that's the circulator document that you'll be able to download. Janine has one copy of it. Did you have a quick question?
Do we need to see a driver license for each signer?
No. Oh, no. The driver's license is simply for people who are going to take petitions so we know who they are, so that we can then contact them. And look, if somebody has nefarious intent, they probably don't want to give us their driver's license because they have nefarious intent. So it's that simple. Look, I was a little uncomfortable with that because I don't trust giving my identity to anyone. And I'm sure a lot of you feel that way. We are trying to protect the integrity of the work that we are all doing here together. That is what the purpose of that is. Yes.
So you have to be careful about letting anybody else see the information that other people have put there. And I think for all of us, so that we have the goodwill of the stores, I always stand like push or something. I talk first with the manager and get in the goodwill.
Right.
See when is a good time.
That's a great idea.
And then stand 10 feet to the side of the door. So if they're not comfortable with them going in by the door, because they want the customers to come in, right?
Right.
Then they go by the outdoor door. So you want to really make sure that you're doing, that they know they're in charge.
You want to develop a good relationship with whoever owns that business because you're not trying to infringe their business. Okay. Well, I want to thank every one of you for coming out and for your willingness.